Here, our first team is our Stevens team. It's one of two. And I believe there's three of you. Are you all coming?
Yes, the other two should be coming.
I'm Taylor Niedzielski.
And I'm Matt Koerner.
And this is our case solution for Build with Robots product, the Breezy One.
So one of the main ideas we thought about doing was expanding our target consumers. COVID-19 has really limited the way people can do like formal casual activities. And this is a problem to solve. Information we reviewed, we thought Breezy One would be beneficial and warehouses/factories. Some of these possible places could be public event places like stadiums, concert halls, arenas, hotel lobbies, and the list goes.
So for the consumer expansion research to find more target consumers, we're going to create a survey for the current consumers, and we're going to use the survey results to attract and market to target consumers. Also, I'm just going to point out Matt's screen is frozen right now. The connection got hit. So, Lord, you can go to the next slide.
Another factor that we considered when releasing to more public places was variations of the Breezy One. And the reason we considered variations is because we knew that the Breezy One might not be able to adapt in all different places. So right now we have an example to show you, which is a different version of the Breezy One that can adapt, that has a different feature. So what you're seeing right now is called the Octave Freezer, and unlike its original counterpart, it can walk and climb, and its legs are extensive. And you're probably wondering, why does it need to walk and climb? Well, some places have many stairs. So a good example would be a sports stadium or a concert hall or even a movie theater. And those places, they have a lot of stairs, and you might need to extensively clean at certain areas. And this is just concept art of what could possibly work. And once again, I didn't go or have any details on certain specifications that you're probably wondering. This is just to show that we have a variation that we could consider or should consider. Aside from releasing to the public in the US, we also believe that international expansion is necessary. So in order to release this product in international areas, we could start with places including, but not limited to, airports, schools, and museums.
Before we start talking about funding strategy, since Matt connection dropped, he's here right now through my computer. So Laura, can you go back to slide?
Slide 3,
Yeah.
Consumer expansion strategy.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you heard, but I guess I can start from the beginning. So step 1 for our strategy would be finding like those target consumers that I was talking about. We would start by researching indoor spaces that would need those nightly cleaning services, places that would be more crowded during the day, and then to, I guess, get them to want to buy our product. We would create a survey asking current customers how they feel, how happy they are with the Breezy One, and how safe they feel knowing that it's running nightly. And then we would be able to send those surveys to our target consumers, as well as the statistics on how effective Breezy One is, in order to like gain their traction and be like, oh, we actually do need this product. It'll help us. It'll make us feel safe, satisfied, and they won't be worried about their workers or customers getting sick. and some companies don't realize they need it, but I believe that with the survey and the statistics of Breezy One, that it will be effective.
All right, so for the funding strategy, the steps we're going to take is we're going to show a strong growth to gain potential investors, and we're also going to get valued at an investment bank. So to show strong growth, we get directly to customers using a sales force. And what this is going to do is we're going to gain a growth of sales in the company. And this is going to be important too. You can go to the next slide. Gain investors. So to gain investors, what we're going to do is we're going to find companies and potential competitors that may meet the brand image. So our Breezy One is going to be perfect for companies like Procter & Gamble, because since they own Clorox, Breezy One fits their brand image, as well as Johnson & Johnson, since it's a clean and green cleaning machine. It's going to fit with Johnson & Johnson, as well as Dyson, since they're more innovative. Same with Lysol, since they're about cleaning too. And then so once we get a lot of sales and a lot of income, we can just get valued at an investment bank. And this will be good because they can value our company and show this number to other potential investors so we can reach a larger audience.
We hope that our solution can bring you better insight on how Breezy One can be expanded or altered. So if you have any questions, please let us know. And thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you guys. You finished just a few minutes early, so we have lots of time for questions. Judges, if you want to put your questions in the Q&A tab, I can read to answer. First question, did data analytics from Boston Analytics give you any guidance?
A little bit of guidance, because I know that we just have to focus. Mainly it's just getting investors. It's important to focus with companies that either could be a potential competitor or it meets their brand image and like they already have experience with other products similar to theirs.
There's another question. Is cost a concern that you included in your research? Is there both a cost up front and a monthly cost?
Would that be focused more towards the new Breezy One forms or like the consumer expansion?
Robert, maybe you can follow up on that question for them. Can you, another question while we wait for Robert is, what is the current status of the robot?
Lloyd, would you want to take that one?
Oh, yeah, sure. So the current status, if I'm answering this correctly, the current status is pretty much the version that you saw right now. So right now, the robot is being used at schools or maybe in some office spaces, but our intention was to bring it to more public spaces for more efficient cleaning. Especially not
And Mr. Shefali says either one, with regards to consumer or.
Well, in terms of the consumer expansion, I don't think we didn't really take into account the costs for like making surveys, because usually surveys are on the cheaper side of advertisements or research. And then we would use that for like advertisements or, getting it out to our target customers.
Yeah.
As
just to show like the surveys were there to show proof that this actually made consumers feel safer, since that's our problem that we're trying to solve with the Breezy one.
And then Lord can answer in terms of the new Breezy form.
I apologize. I could not hear the question that well.
It was asking if we took into account like cost or monthly costs for like basically for you for the new like Breezy form.
I did not take any account into cost because my goal for finding a solution was to suggest different variations, or to suggest the fact that we should have variations or consider variations.
What do you perceive to be the key enabler to solving the scaling challenge here, i.e. hiring or customer build out?
I would say customer build up. I think they have like a good current target audience, like with schools, factories, and airports. Like those are some like solid targets, but I do think with more customer build
big space areas, such as like stadiums and arenas would be
a great one, or concert halls. I think that would be key to the scaling solution.
Thank you. How many customers do you think exist today, and what, if any, studies have you done to show the efficacy of the cleaning technology?
I would say that our customer target is anyone who either goes to a place that is essential or non-essential. So nearly everywhere, such as offices, museums, gyms, and so on. And I believe Matt or Taylor could answer the second part of the question.
Yeah, I mean, we looked into what the statistics that we were given for the Breezy one, but we didn't do any like extra research past that.
Where would you direct the survey outside of customers, and what would be your approach to do so?
So we could also adjust the survey to maybe ask like possible target customers how they would feel, and then like how safe they would feel knowing that Breezy One was running at night, and then compare that with our current customers and notice like the difference in that. They might not, because they might not realize how effective it would be and how they would feel. So I think that's how we would target it outside of our current customers.
And I would honestly like direct the survey more towards, especially like any big buildings where a lot of people have to touch the same thing, like an office space and the computer keyboards. If some people have to share some of those, like that would be important to know what their feelings are with that and how clean they want their environment to be.
Thank you. Were any scaling challenges identified associated with distributing chemistry?
I don't believe we did anything associated with distributing chemistry.
Have you explored a manufacturing strategy including location to the market and suppliers?
No, but most manufacturing would probably take place in the US first if we were to expand more.
Okay, thank you. There's about 5 minutes left for questions from the judges. Have you considered how large of a space a single device can clean in an hour?
Yes, I believe it was 1,000 square feet for an hour, if I'm correct. So we did take that into account, and like we know that we would have to like research like what times games would be taking place, like if it would be put in like concerts or arenas or stadiums. We would need to know like when to run Breezy 1, like at least 2 hours before the games start in the morning. So we did think about that, yes.
And that is also why I mentioned we could have variations or consider variations of the product, so we could maybe improve on certain features such as what we have.
What are the most significant challenges you face?
In terms of the variation that I just mentioned, well, not just the variation I just mentioned, but also knowing, what would be appropriate variations and what would be useful variations, and definitely, budget-wise, how we're going to build this.
I also think that another problem would be putting the research into like the most like ideal target for new consumers would be. I do think I've said this multiple times that like concerts and arenas would be great, but outside of that, more research would need to be put into that to find what we really should be targeting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Could the market that is accessible by the current 2D Breezy be compared to one that is accessible if it can climb stairs and things like that?
Yeah, I would say be pretty comparable. I think the purpose of the one that could climb stairs would be in like places that don't have that. Yeah, stadiums where there's bleachers or buildings that don't have stairs, but it would still, like in the end, be getting the same job done. It would just.
Okay. It sounds like most companies would need dozens of these robots. Do you know how many robots you can build per month?
I don't believe we did any research into those.
Okay, we've got about a minute left for any last minute questions. Okay, have you seen the robot in action?
Yes, the three of us
Yes.
have.
Mm-hmm. Anything of Star Wars, R2-D2. It has a very similar shape, and it just rolls around and like sprays in the air. The spray the disinfectant spray.
Okay, time's up. Thank you guys very much for your presentation, and we are glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. We are the Stevens Institute of Technology Team 2 and are excited to present our scaling strategy for Build with Robots. I am Brianne Kain and am joined by Teny Odaimi, Eric Indelicato, and our mentor, Dr. Gary Lin. Build with Robots was founded in 2017 and is located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Their core competency is a fogging sanitizing system. I will now turn it over to Eric Indelicato.
The coronavirus has changed the narrative in hygiene, but coronavirus is just one of many transmittable diseases that cost society close to $150 billion a year. The literature tells us that these are the top 10 areas for transmitting diseases, the top 3 being hospitals, schools, and airports. For Build with Robots, we believe schools, airports, fitness centers, and medical offices offer the greatest market potential for scaling. However, 2 different marketing strategies are required. We believe direct sales are needed for schools and airports because of their large size per establishment. However, the recommended model for franchises or for fitness centers and medical offices would be a franchise model because of their smaller footing and greater dispersion. For schools and airports, it's the breezy one. And for fitness centers and medical offices, we propose 2 new products that should be added to the company's product line. The Breezy 3, which is a small, less expensive sanitizing robot, and the handheld Breezy, which is a rechargeable handheld fogger for spot sanitizing of bathrooms and smaller areas. The number of potential franchise partners were explored, including pest controls, cleaning and sanitizing companies, and a few others. We believe a potential and receptive market exists in cleaning and sanitizing companies who invest anywhere from $15,000 to $220,000 to their own franchise, plus a royalty fee ranging from 5% to 10%. Build with Robots offers a unique competitive advantage over all other sanitizing systems currently in the market. They cover a far greater area in just a fraction of the time. Comparing our 2 channel strategies, there are several differences that are to be noted. Those are in product line offering, pricing, target market, and key potential funders. For pricing, in the franchise model, the price point is less expensive. The franchise will purchase the Breezy 3 and the handheld Breezy for a combined total of $42,400 with an additional $5,100 for yearly for a maintenance and solution. In addition, they will also provide a 5% royalty. For direct sales, the Breezy 1 will be sold for $96,500 with an additional $10,200, again for maintenance and solution per year. For key potential of the franchise model, for potential funders for the franchise model, the upfront investment for the franchises will provide the capital needed for the scaling. And then for direct sales, especially for schools, there's a number of key funding agencies. Of the different funding agencies, the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, or ESSER, offers the most potential for Build with Robots. There are several potential risks and barriers. The top three are finding receptive franchise partners, demonstrating profitable customer return on investment, and increasing customer awareness for our products and services. To address customer awareness, we have created an advertising and promotional strategy for direct sales and franchises that include critical industry trade shows, key magazines, direct marketing, and targeted email blasts. Below is shown the breakdown for the detailed costs for those different trade shows. While direct sales and franchising offer potential, the franchise model is much more profitable because of the higher revenue forecast. The market reaction based on the limited people that we were able to talk to indicates that the future for Build with Robotics is incredibly promising. Thank you for your time. And is there any questions?
Okay, thank you very much. You guys finished a few minutes early as well. Can everybody hear me? Because it looks like I'm frozen. Okay,
Yes,
I'm gonna keep pretending like you can hear me. Any questions?
Thank you, everyone.
First question, great testimonials. On-site training be needed? And if so, how would this scale?
So the training currently, well, there's not like a lot of training for this roll-ups. They're pretty easy to use, and you wouldn't need any like professional training to be able to use the current devices. And that should be similar for the devices that we are suggesting that they also look into, being the Breezy 3 and the handheld unit.
Thank you. What are the most significant challenges that are faced by your proposal?
So a big thing is, we had it on the a slide before talking about the biggest risks and barriers. A big thing is the challenge of distribution. We're getting into new markets, so being able to distribute our product is going to be a challenge. But it's something that, based on the current employers that Build with Robots is working with, we believe that it is possible. Another big thing was the return on investment. When we talked, almost all of the market feedback that we got was they did not know if it was going to have a good enough return on investment that they were willing to get this robot. So there was some worry about that. However, the markets that we suggested are very interested in this product, specifically schools. Schools are demanding this product and wanted to see was asking actually to even see a demonstration of our products. And the last thing is the customer awareness. When I was talking to these individual markets, they knew that it was something that people did, but they didn't really understand anything about the technology or what it does. They know that it's pretty much it cleans, but being able to to increase the customer awareness and then have them realize how much demand there is for this product, I think is going to be a bit of a challenge. But based on our promotion and marketing strategy, we believe that we're going to be able to meet that demand.
Thank you. Next question, are these common chemicals, or if they're unique, is a license needed? Is there money in the consumables?
So we believe there is money in the consumables, and there's actually already been testing. The current sanitizing spray that they use was created by someone who they're partnered with. It's called Spectra Shield, and they are already approved for grades up for hospital grades, which is pretty much as exclusive as you're going to be. So they got the green light for their spray. They're ready to go. So there's nothing more to do on that front.
I like the two models presented, but if I could only afford one path, which would you recommend?
The one path should be the franchise model. It provides a much larger range that we can get into, and selling our new products, plus the additional revenue that we would get from the royalties, is something that is going to create a long-lasting income, and it's also going to be able to expand our company a lot faster because we're working with industries like sanitation companies that are already in the field, that are already providing a service to a lot of these companies, like the medical offices and the schools and so on, the markets that we talked about before.
Thank you. Do you know how much square feet a robot can clean in an hour, and also how many robots can you build per month?
So the square feet per hour, it would be 100,000 square feet can be cleaned in an hour and a half. So about 66,000 square feet per hour. And that's one of the key points in our product is it's so far beyond every other product currently in the market. They're mostly UV that work in hospitals that clean one room for every 10, 20 minutes. For us, we're cleaning the same amount of space in a sixth of the time, and even more in some cases. So for that, it's really, we have a large competitive advantage for that, for being able to clean large areas in a fast amount of time. As for I'm sorry, the second question was,
How many can you build per month?
Yeah, that unfortunately, based on the production, we didn't have any research. I did look for it a lot, but I wasn't able to find anything. They do have currently some estimates that they will be able to make by 2023, 500,000 units of Breezy 1, 500,000 of Breezy 3, and then a third unit for Breezy 2, which doesn't actually do sanitizing cleaning. It's more of for evaluating contaminations in certain areas. So we didn't focus on that unit. So those are estimates that they have provided, but we can't give you an estimate exactly.
Okay, what were the key factors you considered in the pricing model for each of the product lines?
So the price for the Breezy 1 it was given. It's right now they're currently being sold, so we use the price for those models. For the Breezy 3, it's going to be a more condensed version, and in that same idea, it's going to be more cost effective. So it's going to be used for smaller areas. So we try to scale down the pricing for that. We focused on we didn't have a bill of materials to kind of work off of, so we couldn't estimate a cost for the product. But we did do it based on what the current product was and trying to reduce that cost as much as possible.
Okay. Is the chemistry able to be shipped overseas?
I am not sure. I believe, and this is just for my research, the information that I have, there's nothing that specifically says this. However, there is medical device sanitizing robots all over the world, especially in Asia. It's a huge market right now. So I would assume that with such high demand, and the fact that they have already been approved for hospital use, and I believe that they would be able to, but again, that's just speculation on my part.
Okay. Did Boston Analytics help with any insight into market and competition?
So they did provide data that we used, but the numbers specifically for most cases, we took the information they gave and then did our own research to elaborate even further and really understand what numbers meant. So we did use some of those values. We found out that based on Boston Analytics data, that there was a high funding potential for disinfecting robots. And we also found out that a couple people who would be willing to acquire our product. However, the numbers that you saw in this presentation, I would say 99%, if not 100, was taken from our own research.
Okay, are there any health hazard concerns, say, versus UV cleaning?
Well, to be honest, UV cleaning also has its health risks. So there is an issue where you have to stay outside the room for 30 minutes after the cleaning has been done, and that's for any spray that you would use. It's a chemical, and you have to wait for that to settle before you're able to re-enter, or else you'll breathe it in and it can cause harm. But UV robots aren't completely safe either. If you're in the same room as most of these UV robots at the same time, you're going to have harmful effects from the UV rays that they're giving off. So yes, there is a bit of a hazard for 30 minutes after the spray is sprayed, and after that, there shouldn't be any harmful contamination to people.
Okay, how long does it take to get the funding? Sometimes grants take a long time.
Yes, they do. Luckily for Build with Robots, though, the pandemic has created a bit of a demand for this, and most of the grants that we're looking at are for relief for COVID. So the funding for those grants, I honestly do not know the typical time for funding, but these grants over the last year have been giving funding within the year. And actually, in most cases, within 6 months, because the relief for schooling and for some of the other programs are they have a dire need for this funding, so they're going through it, I guess, a little bit faster than they might usually.
Okay. Do you have any data on how well a distributed spray disinfects all surfaces? For example, under desks, inside shelves, how high on the walls?
So I do not have numbers to back it up. I can tell you what was told based on the research, that sprays, because they cover a larger area and it's a mist that can get around products more easily, so it can get underneath desks, behind objects, higher up on ceilings, and facts like that. Specifically, I cannot tell you the amount of the percentage of bacteria and viruses that these sprays do is 99.999%. So they're very effective, and that is the amount of. It was said that was the amount of bacteria that was killed in the room. So, to say how that is versus other products. I think almost every competitive market competitive sanitizing robot on the market right now has that said. So that's not really a huge concern for our product. Everyone does that. And if you're not able to do that, it would be a detriment. And our product definitely does that.
I think we have time for one last question. How would you rank segments of market readiness today? School versus hospitals versus office buildings, etc.
So from a lot of the calls, I would say schools is at the forefront. They want the product and they're ready to invest, and they're looking for ways to invest and looking for this product. They need to get, especially K to 12. They want to have students back into the schools. So I think the highest demand is there. Based on like the Build with Robots is already currently in airports. So there is a demand for that, especially as you see the amount of, you ever saw the stock prices, a lot of these airport companies, they really have been taking a huge hit, and they're desperately trying to find a way to get people comfortable enough to get on these flights again. So I think that's probably another huge demand. Office spaces, there was a bit of a concern with legality, taking on additional risk because you're going to be now sanitizing offices of your tenants. So there was a concern there. For banks, they said that currently they're not allowing people into their bank. So they weren't really looking at sanitizing robots options right now. For convention centers, they had a huge hit, so they don't really have the money to be investing unless we can show them that there's a very, very, very good return on investment for them. And
thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no problem.
But thank you very much. And judges, this was Stephen's group 2. And
good afternoon, everyone. I'm Koerner Bickel.
I'm Suraj Malhotra.
I'm Amala Neervannan.
And I'm Shefali Shangappa.
And we are 4 undergraduate freshmen at Indiana University's Kelley School of Business. For the past year, COVID-19 has changed the way we clean, gather, and live our daily lives. And now more than ever, efficient and effective sanitation is necessary to safely move around in our homes, our businesses, and our public gathering spots. As freshmen in college, we've been able to experience firsthand how both universities and high schools need to invest in higher quality sanitation products, along with pre-existing janitorial staff. However, this incurs several drastic costs: disinfectants, labor hours, and the hiring of staff.
This is where Build with Robots can help. Build with Robots' mission is to further ease the lives of employees that it works with. The education industry specifically is in dire need of innovative solutions to open schools completely, all while mitigating costs and keeping the same standard of care for its employees and students. Additionally, there is intense pressure from the public, specifically parents, to open schools with proper sanitary methods to provide their kids with a quality education in a quality environment. With budget cuts, increased costs, and prioritization of safety during the pandemic, how can Build with Robots scale their company and find a way into schools nationwide so that students can finally go back?
We recommend Build with Robots begin by marketing to individual teacher associations and schools in the greater Albuquerque area. This method holds low risk yet high reward in a cost-effective way to gain publicity and implement robots into local schools. By first introducing the product to a local school, we're creating trust. After the first success story, the product can be advertised through teacher platforms and rolled out to other schools. This growth would be exponential, bringing the Breezy One into every school in America.
We're going to be walking you through the process of how exactly this scaling plan would work for your company. There are 5 main steps for our proposed business plan that Build with Robots can implement to achieve optimized expansion. This process starts with introducing Breezy One to individual schools and having them test run it through our 3-month rotational program. After having it implemented, teachers begin providing testimonials and endorsing the product on teacher platforms. As awareness grows, Breezy One can be marketed and eventually move out of the New Mexico state and into other states. Finally, a large push will be made to have districts sign contracts with Build with Robots to implement Breezy One for years to come.
One of the most cost-efficient ways to implement and increase marketing efforts to school is word of mouth and social media. According to the Agile Education Marketing Program, for teachers, word of mouth is 71% effective and one of the leading ways for advertising. Teachers tend to trust teachers far more than they would any company. Additionally, teachers have such a large impact on parent opinions, which heavily influence district-wide decisions, making teachers individual schools the best audience to approach. Whether it's blog posts, Facebook groups, or even testimonials, influencing teachers cuts through so much district-wide red tape that makes selling. One specific way we propose you reach the market audience, teachers, is the NMSTA.
Now, what is the NMSTA? Well, the NMSTA is the New Mexico Science Teacher Association, a 501c3 organization in which science teachers in the New Mexico region are able to connect with one another. They're dedicated to providing a network for educators throughout the state to work collaboratively towards improving science education from pre-kindergarten through college. This organization has over 970 members that actively participate on the platform and share new information regarding innovations within their schools or changes that are need to be brought up. With over 9 districts, there is streamlined communication, allowing for information to spread like wildfire. Activity within the NMSTA is incredibly high, and shared information is seen by a large number of teachers, administrators, and district officials.
Given the large platform of the NMSTA, Build with Robots would begin on a volunteer-based program that utilizes it. Our main focus for outreach would specifically be to science teachers. And by having science teachers advocate for not only the sanitary benefits of Breezy One, but also the educational opportunities for students, administrations and districts would be more aware and likely to implement Breezy One into their school. The second would be to find teacher faculty volunteers to serve as teacher ambassadors who can advocate on behalf of Breezy One's efficacy. These volunteers would be in forefront of the project and in each respective school, pushing to administration and other faculty about the benefits of this product in schools for both sanitation and learning through the NMSTA platform.
We propose, in efforts to minimize costs, to curate a 3-month rotational program within 12 schools in the Albuquerque area. A simple example is that we have 3 schools, A, B, and C. We give 1 Breezy One per 100,000 square feet for 3 months to each school. Then after that time period is up, we will move those Breezy Ones to another 3 schools, D, E, and F. This will allow for multiple schools to test out Breezy One for free in order to gain more exposure. This rotation will allow for administration to get a preview before purchasing. During the remaining 9 months, teachers would be able to advocate and endorse Breezy One on these platforms. We estimate that the cost for Build with Robots will be anywhere between $20,000 and $60,000. But this cost will be mitigated because the school will be highly likely to buy the Breezy One for the rest of those 9 months and for the years after.
Once the Breezy One has successfully completed the rotational program, our teacher ambassadors will endorse the product through NMSTA. This can be done through various venues, so teacher ambassadors have the freedom and flexibility to endorse in the form that they choose. Our teacher ambassadors will explain their experience with the product and highlight the plethora of benefits. This personalized marketing tool will better appeal to the respective market and get teachers across the state interested. Once the market base grows, we can expand the number of teacher ambassadors posting and sharing their positive experiences while using this product.
NMSTA is just one of many state-level teachers associations across the country. However, as traction picks up, it's important to move to larger and more prominent platforms, not only statewide, but nationwide as well. Each state association is an affiliate with the National Science Teacher Association, or NSTA. This national stage is a great step into exponentially growing the market, as the National Association disseminates blogs, newsletters, and overall new and aspiring tech. The affiliation will allow the expansion of marketing efforts into state and national conferences, allowing for far more exposure for the company.
The next step would be to start signing contracts with respective districts correlating with the schools involved. With NSTA affiliation and teacher ambassadors, individual schools and teachers can advocate for the product to get more district support. This shift will be one of the crucial steps of getting Breezy on a national stage.
Here we have a model that shows the growth relation to potential profit. On the left, you can insert any school's square footage, and it will display the number of Breezy Ones required, production cost, Breezy's revenue, and finally, the Build with Robots total profit. Using this basic financial model, Build with Robots can scale their company upwards and achieve high levels of expansion in a very simple way.
Now let's set the scene for funding. SoftBank Group, a technology-focused venture capital based in Tokyo, has already given Series A financing to Fetch Robotics for $20 million. Fetch Robotics creates autonomous mobile robots that handles material handling, data collection, and has their robots in warehouses and intralogistic environments. Here we can see some products that Fetch Robotics offers. The key to our funding plan is that Fetch Robotics has already partnered with Breezy One. Why does this matter? Well, because the SoftBank Group has already invested in Fetch Robotics, they would want more money in return. In other words, a stronger ROI. We propose that SoftBank Group invest in Build with Robots because this will create a stronger return on investment since Build with Robots is already partnered with Fetch Robotics. Additionally, SoftBank is always looking for established companies that have tremendous technological potential, an attribute associated with Build with Robots. And because our company has already had a secured relationship with Fetch Robotics, they can easily request an investment from SoftBank, bypassing the difficulties of securing a loan for startup firms.
Working with schools and the education industry is just the first step. We believe that this product has high growth potential in other industries, such as the airline and warehouse industry as well. The same model we propose to market to schools can be replicated for airports, using Sunsport as the first airport to begin growth in that industry. With warehouses being private companies, making that connection once already having established market will make that growth far easier.
Now, having lost part of our final year in the K-12 system, having Breezy One would have improved our situation significantly. And it would have made our final year as seniors in high school a much better experience. So we hope that you will consider our recommendation as the plan that will help Breezy One make its way to schools. Thank you, and we open the floor to questions.
Thank you very much, guys. That was a great presentation. The first question is from Professor Lin. He says, are you targeting teachers or school maintenance workers?
So we're actually going to be teachers. Now, teachers, there's an abundance. In every school across the entire nation, there are teachers there. And specifically, science teachers are who we would be targeting because they have influence not only in creating a communicative idea that they can present to the administrators and get this Breezy One to be recommended and implemented, but science teachers offer that potential to increase student curiosity and use Breezy One as an opportunity to understand how the robot works, how it's implemented, and the ins and outs of it, which would really help with it.
To add on to that, the NMSTA is an amazing organization full of thousands of teachers, and they all collaborate with one another. So targeting them would be a lot better than targeting individual schools.
Thank you. What size loan do you anticipate needing to implement your recommended scaling plan?
So as mentioned before, our plan of doing 3 months 4 times is going to cost anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000. But for a larger scale, to not only just do it in the New Mexico area, we're thinking anywhere from $2 to $3 million. But then from there, once you start making money through revenue streams, like we explained in the graph that we showed, it should just take off from there and the scaling will be complete.
Thank you. This is an interesting approach. With what process could a teacher ambassador validate Breezy's efficacy?
So a teacher ambassador would be the one sort of pioneering the effort to implement Breezy Ones within schools. So they would be the one really talking to the administrators, bringing it in. Obviously, there's a little bit more of a complicated technical aspect to it as well. Before the Breezy One is implemented, they do have to map the entire area in order to be uploaded to the cloud server. So like a science teacher would be the one really pioneering that effort, and the teacher would be the one sort of overseeing the entire process, because it is a little bit more complicated. It does have this like tech aspect that maybe someone else wouldn't be as knowledgeable about. And so the teacher ambassador would be so involved with the process. And because of their involvement, they can really talk to their students, and students talk to their parents, which really will tie in getting the district on board with this. The other thing is teachers will really pioneer this with other teachers and get them involved in having a robot that does 99% sanitation in a school is such an amazing thing. And it brings in like the tech interest aspect as well as the sanitation aspect that schools need. So a teacher ambassador really ties in all parts of everyone.
And something also to note that I'd kind of like to tie to the first question is, though the teachers are advocating for this, this is really coming back to the janitorial staff and the maintenance workers. Those analytics that we'd like to get in that 3-month process is coming from, are you able to cut hours for labor? Are you able to kind of focus on, let the robotics go down the halls and then allow the janitorial staff to focus on more high contact areas? Kind of stuff like that. Are you able to save costs? Is kind of where we're aiming on. Is this efficacious?
Thank you. What were the key factors that led you to focus on schools and the educational market rather than industry?
So when presented with this case, the company Build with Robots told us that they were highly interested in 3 industries: education, warehouse. When we looked at the product, we thought that because of the COVID-19 pandemic, schools are an incredible place to start. And the other thing that we really looked at when creating our entire market plan was another product, Google Chromebooks. So Google Chromebooks are in essentially every public school in the entire nation. There's a Google Chromebook for every kid. And the way that they got Google Chromebooks into schools was through teachers. Teachers really pioneered the effort to get the product into districts to sign long-term contracts for that product because of how much teachers care and how influential teachers are within the educational space. So looking at the educational market from that standpoint, we saw a way to get Breezy Ones into schools in such a simple yet effective way that completely changes the game. Starting small, starting with one school is what Google did. They started with an individual school in Chicago and grew globally. The exact same thing can be done with Breezy One, and starting small and doing that exponential growth will allow the company to also take into account manufacturing time and all other aspects of the company, including funding, so they can really achieve growth on such an incredible level.
What fogging chemistry can be used? What is the percentage of total consumable costs? And any idea of consumable profitability and how it may scale?
The disinfecting fogging that was used was the DF500. Unfortunately, we didn't know the exact specifications of how consumable it would be, but we scaled it up extremely just so we can mitigate our risk and reward. And we already added that into the cost that we mentioned earlier. So it would, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We were just gonna say, the company itself, Build with Robots, is very strong in their research department and their tech department. So a lot of the scientific aspects itself, the decisions made in like which chemicals to use, all of those decisions have been made by the company in a very efficient manner.
Thank you. We've got about 4 minutes left for questions, or if you guys have any other comments that you've thought of. Okay, 2 new questions. Any school market entry opportunities through janitorial services, or is this a competitive barrier?
So I wouldn't talk about this as a competitive barrier because the goal of Breezy One isn't to replace the janitors, it's to assist them so that they can really take care of the places that Breezy One would not be able to reach. So Breezy One obviously is a fog dispenser. It just sprays the entire area that it's in, but it can't really get into the nooks and crannies that the janitors would have. So this would just simply be something that is an addition to the janitors' ability to clean the actual schools that they are part of, and eventually the warehouses and airports that they're going to be cleaning in.
Something to add is specifically with the pre-pandemic, so last year in March when we were all in high school, some metrics that I had from my high school was that they increased sanitation up to 70%, and then they invested in over $30,000 in disinfectants because they knew this was going to increase. They did not increase any hours. They had to just increase all of that. So if, like, for example, if my school had this Breezy robot, they could have sent it down the hall, sent it in the classrooms, and the janitorial staff could have gone everywhere else, the libraries, the cafeterias, and been able to do those high contact areas.
Thank you. Are there unique legal issues in the product application and the educational market?
So in all of our research that we conducted, we did not find any unique or outstanding legal issues that would really impede the growth of this product within the educational market. Obviously, there are the basics to consider: student safety. So this product would be used at a time where students would not be in the classrooms, and other issues like that. The one thing that we also thought was a really unique idea about our proposal was, because we are going through teachers and having teachers advocate for the product within the districts have a lot of red tape when it comes to proposing an idea, and they hate signing contracts. They hate long-term commitments, but having it come from teachers shows the efficiency already. And when they see what one individual teacher is doing, even in an individual school, will oftentimes, more often than not, sign long-term contracts for other schools in the district as well, which I thought was not necessarily an issue, but actually a really interesting legal benefit to going about of this method.
Thank you. What other associations should Build with Robots address?
So during our research, we did talk about the fact of MSTA and the National Science Teacher Association. But there was another association that we really liked and we thought would be super beneficial, and that was the Teacher-to-Teacher Association. This association connects not just science teachers, but a network of teachers around the country, with so many members involved, actively blogging, posting, and the best part is it's in partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who have pioneered the K-12 education system and have really tried to make it a better place. So being in partnership with them and having it be advocated through that platform as well will definitely help, since the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is all about the K-12 system and making it the best place possible for students so that they can have the opportunity to get the best quality education that there is.
Thank you. We only have a couple seconds left. I don't think enough time for another question, but I want to thank you guys for your presentation. You did a great job, and thank you, judges, for your questions.